Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. If you want to join me in my live streams, check out the links in the description and the comments below. Live streams will be returning to this channel soon, but until then, check out those links. So there is a Monero for bail program, and it's a software that basically mines Monero to pay bail for people. Obviously, with the protests across the country recently, the demand for that has actually gone up, and they've with this software, they've actually raised enough to bail several people out of jail. So they're basically using it for some kind of social justice thing. And essentially they pay bail. And what bail is, for those that don't know, is someone basically footing you money for your freedom until your trial date arrives. If you show up for your trial, then they get their bail money back. If you run off, they don't get any money, they don't get their money back, and they're pissed off at you. That's basically how it works. And this is basically, I think like this guy's running it on a social justice platform, and the hash rate is currently increasing. The use of graphics cards has been very, very helpful. So basically he conceived of bail block following the 2016 election as a way to address clicktivism, where people signal their fidelity to cause without doing anything about it. Monero is leading a privacy-focused coin that hides the identity of miners, and Arlie said Monero's mining algorithms has helped bail block. So that's why they're actually mining Monero and selling it, and they've actually raised enough money to actually get people out of to raise bail for people. So it's a national nonprofit that provides free bail assistance to thousands of low-income Americans each year and accepts donations in Bitcoin. Thus far, it has secured freedom for over 10,000 people in over 20 countries. So that's the entire project, but this mining thing has actually secured enough for like a dozen or 2 dozen people for bail. So this is really, really cool. This is really cool. And the Monero thing, this actually might be what gets Monero popular. So the Pentagon has schemed out a weird crypto war game, envisioning a Generation Z rebellion funded by Bitcoin. So how they war game this out, this is from CoinDesk, is really weird. They basically, it's not like a physical war. It's basically like a bunch of hackers stealing like fiat currency and then converting it into Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of problems with the Pentagon's kind of like war game because Bitcoin isn't even private. It's a public blockchain, and besides Monero, there's no one that'd be dumb enough to actually post all their transactions to a public blockchain, because guess what? Everyone has the right to view it, which includes the federal government. And if you're doing this, you do not want them to view it. So the Pentagon war game has many faults. So how this war game is schemed out by the Pentagon is it encourages Gen Z, like they have like this situation in 2025 and with this thing called Z-Bellion or something, and that actually exploits the dissatisfaction in Gen Z. And they say it's through poor life choices, but realistically, things just aren't as good now as they were back in the baby boomer age. So they participate in some kind of weird cyber attack that steals money from organizations deemed to establish the establishment. And then the document basically has all this other stuff. And they use software programs to route any proceeds into laundering programs that ultimately convert to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's probably just a keyword for crypto, because no one would actually use Bitcoin. That'd be dumb. Or any real crypto that isn't completely private. So Monero would actually probably be the one to use. But I don't think the Z-Bellion thing is real. I think there's like war games. They scheme out like everything from alien attack to giant volcanic eruption. So this is one of the many millions of cases that they've actually schemed out. It's fun to actually talk about, but it's most likely not happening. And the thing is, like I said, they can't really convert it to any public blockchain because everyone, including the U.S. government, would actually have access to where they're actually routing the money. Remember, like firms like Chain Analysis, they have like really sophisticated cool tools for identifying and tracking blockchain users, and their biggest clients are the FBI, the DEA, and the SEC. So this is completely a moot point. It's an interesting thing to talk about with this Pentagon war game, but not the Z-Bellion thing, not going to happen. The last thing is I want to talk about Ethereum actually overtook Bitcoin again in transaction fees. So this weekend for the 6th and the 7th, Ethereum overtook Bitcoin again in terms of transaction fees. This is the second time it's done it. The first time was in March, and that's when Ethereum got super clogged up and had a shutdown. Right now, the price of Ethereum gas is pretty high because there's a lot of transactions on the network and it's getting clogged up again. Bitcoin's network is not as clogged up because the difficulty adjustment just happened. So the the fee for Bitcoin transaction is actually fairly low right now, whereas the fee for Ethereum transaction is very, very high. So this is, I mean, one, it does show that a lot of people are using Ethereum, especially their stable coins, which is what's causing the clog. But it's not something really to write home about, because all this really means is that your network can't handle scaling, and further use of the network past its current capacity will push up the transaction price, which will invite people to go to different coins. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.